Hello out there in the virtual world. Looks like some folks are still hopping on. We have a really great crowd out there. Happy Thursday. So at home right now, there are 24 households on, which is wonderful. Thank you, everyone. So it is 1:01. We are going to go ahead and get started. This is our March Cedars Voices, March 4th. I can't believe how these months just fly by. 55 degrees and sunny yesterday. And if you noticed fairly recently, we had some snowflakes coming down. So that's Michigan. Just want to bring your attention to the Q&A box. That is where we will be putting questions in. So I encourage you to put questions in there throughout, and I will answer those. Sometimes I'll save them for the end of each area. So that's great. Some slight changes to what I sent out yesterday in terms of the agenda. So we do have this agenda pulled up so you can follow along the actual version. And that's Jackie behind the scenes. So thank you, Jackie, for being our navigator, we will call you. So I'm going to dive right into the activity and event calendar highlights. So we did post a somewhat new version of the calendar on the bulletin board here that just includes some bolded activities that are now able to be offered in person. So you'll notice that over here, we can send that out via email, and then we will get into those specific MDHHS changes that will be effective on Friday. So we'll get into the nitty gritty of that down in the directors section. But event-wise, wanted to talk a bit about the chili cook-off. So we have that scheduled for March 16th right now. We do have some chefs signed up, which is awesome. We are so excited for that. It's been, I think, 2 years since we did a similar cook-off type event. So this time it's going to look much different than that, of course, because it will be grab and go style. And we do have a lot of participants signed up already as well. Be sure you sign up. You do not have to be a chili chef in order to be one of the tasters. So that actually would not be ideal. We need a lot of tasters. So sign up to be a taster. And then what you will receive that day are all of the samples of the chilies. And then we will also include a drink, a side salad, and a roll. So it'll be kind of a nice comfort food meal that evening. And then all of the chilies will be anonymous. So we will label them for you. So as you taste, you will know, oh, you know, I like number 1 or however it is labeled. And so then when you vote, you're voting anonymously and you will not know who the chef is that you are voting for. So with this whole grab and go style, it makes it kind of exciting in that regard. So we do need to have all of our participants signed up. I think we put the deadline of the Friday before because we do have to get a lot of the items that Monday. So please sign up by that Friday, which I believe is the 12th. Better confirm that. Yep, sign up by Friday the 12th and let me know if you have any questions about how that works. And then when you pick everything up, it's similar to all of our other grab and goes. Between 4 and 4:30 will be cottages 1 through 30, and then between 4:30 and 5 will be cottages 31 through 60. So that same style pickup, just a different activity to go along. So stay tuned on that. We're excited. The other thing that's new information is that we will have some pool classes starting up next week. So Cynthia will be here on Wednesdays. So that's March 10th when it starts. So I believe there already is, or there will be sign-up sheets in the book to sign up for these, because we still have to adhere to the pool capacity. So we're really interested to see what kind of participation we will get. And that will decide if Cynthia is in the pool or out of the pool while teaching the class. So she will essentially do 2 classes on Wednesdays from 10:30. So she'll do a 10:30 class and she will do an 11:30 class. As it stands right now, our capacity is 4. So there will be 4 people that are able to sign up per class. And then hopefully as our capacities grow in terms of how much we can have in there, so do those classes. So I know some folks out there have been asking about pool classes again. So this is kind of that first step to get back to a normal schedule with that. So hopefully if you're interested, you will sign up and that'll begin Wednesday, March 10th. And so as you come in and you are looking for things to sign up for, because as I mentioned, there are some things that we can do in person now that when we made that calendar, we weren't thinking that we would be able to do it in person. So for instance, bingo, we can do in person, book club, we can do in person, bridge can meet. So there are new sign up sheets in the book for all of these things that can now meet in person. So when you come and look at that book, you will notice it looks very differently. We took a very helpful tip from a very organized resident and actually divided our sign up book into tabs. So you will see tabs of, for instance, Cynthia Fitness, Cynthia Pool, Tai Chi. So you'll go into these sections and that's where you will find the specific sign up sheets. And as it stood before, it was just the whole month of sign up sheets by date. And we were finding that people were just flipping and flipping and flipping, trying to get to what they wanted to. So we hope that this makes things a little bit easier for you to flip through those and find things easier. So that is the goal. And thank you to our resident that gave us that tip. So then I think I already covered D there, the in-person editions. So again, we will send out a new, somewhat altered version of that calendar. The other thing on there is, of course, St. Patrick's Day. So, you know, we were waiting to hear if we'd be able to do anything in person for that, but we will stick to the original plan of our cocktail cart. So the cocktail cart returns and Jackie and I will be bringing cocktails and goodies around on March 17th, which is a Wednesday. So we're looking forward to that as well. And so I'm about to cruise right into sales and marketing, but if anybody has any activity related questions, please throw those in the Q&A and I would be happy to address any of those. And some of those changes in terms of what I'm saying of the in-person and what we can do now, those will make more sense once I review these new orders that we just received yesterday. So our meeting was going to be very different, but of course we just got a change yesterday. So we had to add some things to our meeting. So I don't see any questions coming in. We will cruise into sales and marketing update. So our reserved cottages right now is just one at the moment, number 58. And they will move in on April 1st, and they are excited to join us. So as we get a little bit closer and we get permission, we will share names and all of that, as we always do. And then our available cottages are number 10 and 25. So we are working on some special marketing campaigns for those. Out to our wait list to entice people to come on in for a spring move-in. As it stands for tours, those procedures really remain the same in terms of we screen the folks that we're touring. So we take their temperatures. So there's not really any specific guidelines that we are forced to follow right now. But we are very careful with still screening them when they come, limiting time in common space. For instance, if they've already been here, we will just meet at the cottage, and then limiting number of people that are in the separate cottages. For instance, we don't show one cottage twice to different groups of people in the same day. So We like to be able to do a quick sanitation before we bring somebody else in. We did have a successful waitlist webinar in February. It was only to our wait list and some hot leads as well, but had a great response rate on that, and over 20 people attended. And really the topic of that was, what is the Cedars like during COVID-19? So what is it like right now? What was it like back in spring of 2020? So a lot of people kind of found that interesting, as it was, as waitlist people, they were kind of, what would their life be like if we were in the Cedars already? So it was an interesting topic for people to hear about. We have another webinar coming up. So it's similar format to this, really. You know, we have the attendees behind the screen. That one is in April, and that will be a larger lead base that goes out to hope to generate some new leads as we get into spring here and need to fill those cottages. In addition to that, we have some specific flyers for number 10 and number 25 with some incentives that we are offering to our wait list only. So a lot of things still going on. We do look forward to a time potentially in June where we can actually host a marketing event out here on the patio. So we do hope to be able to do in-person marketing events, though very small and very different to what we're used to in terms of in-person, more of kind of an intimate gathering. But we do hope to do that this summer as long as our orders allow that. So any specific sales and marketing questions, you can go ahead and put that in the Q&A. And I did have a question come through about the chili cook-off. So to just bounce back, will any of the chilies be non-meat? So that is a great question. We didn't have any specifically that we were requiring to have non-meat. So once we have everybody signed up as competitors, then we will get a better idea of, are any of these non-meat? So if any of our competitors are out there listening, maybe consider doing a vegetarian option. So we could see if that would get us some more participation. So we will confirm if any of those options are going to be non-meat on Friday the 12th, once we know who those competitors are. So if you are the one wondering, I'd be happy to reach out to you specifically too. That's a good question that honestly I didn't think of, so thank you. Alrighty, I'm not seeing any sales and marketing questions popping in. Excuse me for just a moment. Gotta keep going here. Okay, so an exciting one. I want to go ahead and share, Jackie, behind the scenes, the new guidance we received. So, yep, that's the one. Perfect. So we received this order yesterday from Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Reminder, that's what MDHHS stands for. So this is effective on March 5th, which is tomorrow. More so around here, you'll see this be effective in terms of activities really on Monday. So this current order, which we will follow, goes through April 19th. So kind of thinking, okay, we'll be in this current state for a little bit over a month. So the first one at the top, limits on attendance at residential gatherings. So this is referring to in your cottage. This is the guidance of what you're supposed to follow in your cottage. Face masks are required at all times if you are having visitors at your home, unless eating or drinking. Residents should follow MDHHS guidelines for safe social gatherings and are encouraged to form a pod of people to socialize with consistently. Maybe you've heard of these pods. So essentially, indoors at your cottage, you may have up to 15 persons from no more than 3 households in your cottage. Outdoors, this really doesn't apply to us here since we're a community. you could have up to 50 persons. So, okay, we're going through this order. I do have a pretty clear graphic that we made that will summarize all of this for you, but I did want to show you this actual MDHHS order. Next, limits on attendance at non-residential gatherings. So the clubhouse falls into this category of a non-residential gathering. Everyone must wear a face mask at all times unless eating or drinking while seated in a designated area. Consumption of food or beverages is permitted only while seated in a designated area with a group of no more than 6 people. While eating or drinking, each group must be at least 6 feet apart and may not intermingle. So, comes down to indoors, we are allowed in the clubhouse to have a gathering of up to 25 people. That does not include eating and drinking. So that's kind of where the St. Patrick's Day thing came in. We didn't know if we were going to be able to have an actual happy hour in here in the clubhouse. And this tells me that I am not, because we would be eating and drinking, not in a designated eating and drinking area. And we would have more than 6 people if we were eating and drinking, which is bullet point 2. And then bullet point 3, we would be intermingling. So I cannot have a happy hour that large yet. But what that does mean, the indoors up to 25 persons, I can have the bridge group, for instance. You'll see on this, there is no restriction on households in the clubhouse anymore. So bridge group, 4 different households at least, fine, come on in. Book club, less than 25 people, bunch of different households, great, come on in, we will spread you out. So that's, you know, kind of the idea of what we can do, what we can't do. The other one that we can now do is the drawing class as well. So again, we don't have over 25 people for that. You're not eating or drinking. Great, we can do it. So that really summarizes the non-residential gatherings. Let's scroll down a bit, Jackie. Face masks still required here in the clubhouse. Retail personal services, obviously not applying to here, but you know, out and about, you'll see retail goes up to 50%. You'll see recreation and entertainment, something like a bowling alley, a movie theater, that's 50% capacity. We can keep scrolling. I will send this to you via email so you can actually dive into this more. Food service, this applies to us. So our dining room, as of next week, we will be able to seat at 50% capacity instead of 25% capacity. So that's what we've been doing the past few weeks, and that will now be upped to 50%. So I'll give you a little bit more info on that in just a moment. A lot of the bullet points, you know, we don't have any igloos here, unfortunately. And then a little bit about exercise and fitness there. So our exercise area here does go up to 30% capacity. It really, you know, that extra 5% didn't do much for us here. You still do have to be 6 feet distance between your peers here. So our capacity in the fitness area remains 3. And then the things that go along with that, in terms of the signing in, signing out, we are still needing to do that. So we appreciate everybody making sure to sign in and sign out. And that goes for the pool as well. So I know it's kind of an inconvenience if you're going in, you know, if you're coming in the front door and then you need to sign in first and then go to the locker room. So I know it's a little bit off the beaten path, but thank you for signing in and out for the pool as well. So again, with the signing up for activities, the signing up for the fitness areas and the pool, that all is for contact tracing purposes. So if anything ever happened, we would be able to go back and see, you know, who crossed paths and all of that. So I think that's the end of that sheet there. Great. Okay, Jackie, go to the, yep, perfect. So you will see this specific sign that lays it all out for you in terms of how this affects your life here at the Cedars. We just wanted this to be really clear. You did see this before, but now this one is updated for you. So as you see, fitness areas and pool, 30% capacity. In-person dining, 50% capacity. Group gatherings and activities, less than or equal to 25 people, no eating or drinking. Group fitness, still allowed with masks and distancing, even though most of us are still enjoying virtual. And then the visitors in your home on the right, outlining that up to 15 people from no more than 3 households. Visitors at the clubhouse are still not permitted at this time. So that is independent living, consistent throughout the organization. It's the same at Chelsea Retirement Community. No visitors are allowed in the common spaces. Same with our communities on the west side, Porter Hills Village, Cook Valley Estates, no visitors in common spaces. So that is consistent for our independent living groups. Okay, I cruised through that and we looked at this information. If anyone has any questions about that, feel free to put it in the Q&A for me. I would be happy to answer any kind of weird questions. We liked the fact that they separated a residential gathering with a non-residential gathering. So that really worked out in our favor. And I always like to remind people, because people will come to me and say, well, why can't we do this? Why are they saying? I need to always clarify, who is they? They is Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and these are the orders that we are following. So they is never UMRC in Porter Hills. It's never the Cedars of Dexter. We are following these orders through the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, question in our Q&A. If our children have not been vaccinated, are they allowed to visit in our cottages while masked? The MDHHS orders does not specify vaccinated versus non-vaccinated. So that is not a factor in those orders. It is totally your decision if you want to have a vaccinated person over, a non-vaccinated person over. That is completely your decision. This order does not dictate that decision. The only thing in this order that it does dictate is the number of households and the number in which you cannot exceed of people. So totally up to you. It's allowed is the easy answer there. All right, and I'm going to save the next question until I get to the dining area. I'll be sure to cover that. So I'm going to, if there are no other questions about those orders, I'll give us just a minute before I move back. Why don't you go back to the agenda for us, Jackie? If we can get to it, we were having some difficulties. All right. Okay, so B, under our director's update, board rep and alternate. So I believe it was last week that I let everybody know that Ray Downs is our board rep. So we are excited about that. And he did actually have the first board meeting last week. So once we get into a better flow of him being our board rep, we'll get back into those Cedars Voices updates from our board rep. That will be great. And we might actually do kind of a written up thing too, a little update for the rest of the residents from Ray. I shared with you on that memo 2 things. I shared one, that there is a kind of a role description that has been worked on for the board representative. So the board representative is on the United Methodist Retirement Communities and Porter Hills Board of Directors. They're a representative from the Cedars of Dexter. So the other communities that also have representatives are Cook Valley Estates, Chelsea Retirement Community, and Porter Hills Village. So it really gives us the opportunity to share things at the board level. So Ray does a little update for us. And it's nice because they get to know kind of the happenings around here, how things are going. And then where that role description comes in is that there really seemed to be some fuzziness in terms of what is this person supposed to do. So in the coming months, we will be sharing that with all of the residents as that is finalized. So that can kind of help us navigate. The other thing that was in that memo was that we are looking for an alternate for Ray. So if Ray was ever not able to attend a meeting, we do need an alternate. So that person doesn't have to be voted on technically. We always like to have somebody nominated for that. So we are doing kind of a call out for nominations. And so if you wanted to nominate yourself or nominate someone else, we would take them into consideration as an alternate. So any questions on any of that? You could put them in the Q&A at any time. Just a couple other director related updates that I will get to. I just like to give a moment here if anybody was putting a question in. So C is faith in action shopping. So a lot of you that maybe haven't lived here that long don't even know what that is because it's been so long since we've done it. So faith in action is a organization that essentially helps low-income folks from the local areas here, especially in Dexter and Chelsea school districts. A lot of you are familiar with their Chelsea location. They do take donations like clothing and food and furniture, that kind of thing. But they also have a location in Dexter, which is purely a food pantry. So the food pantry actually has not been open throughout this pandemic. It does sound like they will be reopening soon. So we don't have a for sure date on that. But what we used to do when we were able to do this kind of thing and when they were open, every other Wednesday, Faith in Action would provide us with a Meijer gift card that was donated to them. And we would basically do their pantry, their food pantry shopping list. And then we would deliver it to the food pantry for folks that are coming there to get food. So it would sometimes be a long list, sometimes a short list of certain things that they need. And people would volunteer their time to go and do that shopping. So we kind of had a small group of folks that did that on a fairly regular basis. We do hope to start that back up by April. So anybody that would like more information on that, I'd be happy to give you more of an idea. I'd be happy to connect you with other people that have done the shopping in the past that might be able to give you some kind of tips and, you know, tricks and stuff like that. Or if you just want to know how it was, just let me know. We do want to kind of slowly start getting back involved in the community in those small ways that we used to do that. So if anybody is interested in that, just let me know. We do hope to start doing that in April. And then the last thing on the director's update is Easter cards for Rivertown. So again, for those of you that maybe aren't as familiar with the Cedars and kind of things we've done historically here, Rivertown is an assisted living community in Detroit that is under the United Methodist Retirement Communities and Porter Hills umbrella. So they are a location in downtown Detroit that provide assisted living services to low-income residents. So we have helped them in a lot of ways in the past. We've went and visited with them. We've done singing activities when we're there. We've toured over there. A big thing that we did was create centerpieces for their dining areas and delivered them. We've done the holiday drive where we collected this year specific items, like we did the sheets, towels, kitchen utensils. We've done the welcome baskets that we did this year. So we do a lot with this community. They are near and dear to our hearts, and we love to go and see them when we can, which hasn't happened. And hopefully that can happen again in the near future. But right now, we thought it would be nice to just check in with them and send them some well wishes for Easter. So if you wanted to participate in this, and I will just do a little flyer for you, we would need to collect these within the next 3 weeks and hope that the mail arrives in time for Easter, which is April 4th. So you could very easily go to probably one of our new favorite spots in Dexter, the Dollar Tree, which is on the opposite side of Bushes on Dexter Ann Arbor Road. So the Dollar Tree has really cute Easter cards. It doesn't even have to be Easter specific. If you don't want to do that, you could do a welcome spring kind of thing. So anything that you would want to just send some well wishes to our friends at Rivertown. And you can just say, dear Rivertown friend. And then if you didn't want to sign your name, you could do Cedars friend. So I'll get out just another flyer outlining that for you, but just wanted to give you a heads up on that, that we would like to send our friends at Rivertown some well wishes for Easter. They do have 70 residents, so we need lots of cards and well wishes. So we hope to get right around 70 so that we can have one for each resident, essentially. So let me pop back to the Q&A here. Any questions for me? Go ahead and put those in the Q&A. I am not sure if I'm interpreting the question right, but I think it's about the board rep. So I think the person that submitted this question, I think they're looking for clarification of how we would decide on an alternate. So as I was saying, we don't technically need to vote on an alternate. So I was kind of basing it off of who got nominated. And if we had multiple people nominated, then we would do a vote. Judging on the number of nominations, which is 0 since the memo has went out, I'm not sure a vote will be necessary, but I do hope to at least have an alternate still. So I think I answered the question. Now the board rep, so Ray now will do this for 2 years. And so in 2023, we will need another board rep. And this one, Ray was voted for along with Dave Howard before. So 2023 will look a little bit different as well, because it will coincide with our fiscal years at that time, which will be July 1 through June 30th. So the term is a little weird right now because of that. Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in. So we will go ahead and move on into dining. Okay, so as you learned from our graphics and our orders that we shared with you, we will open up the dining room to 50% capacity. So we weren't quite equipped to start that right away tomorrow when it's technically effective. So we will start that on Wednesday, the 10th, when we open back up. And we'll be kind of all set with that by that time. So again, if you're coming into the dining room to eat, you do still need to make your reservations. And so that, again, with the reservations, that is another form of tracing and tracking who has been in the dining room and when they were in there and who may have crossed paths. So we are required to do that through the health department. So our folks that are doing their reservations, thank you so much. You also do need to write who you are sitting with in that additional instructions box. So as we've went through this whole reservation thing, we have learned some things that work and don't work, and kind of, if you do it this way from the user end, if you put in your reservation, it shows up a certain way on the back end. So we have now had the chance to kind of figure these things out and troubleshoot, thanks to you all and your feedback and your patience. So we will soon have a step-by-step how-to reservations that will be very clear for you. We do hope to do just a quick little recording how-to as well. I know a lot of you haven't taken that step to come back in the dining room. So we hope that as folks are sharing their experiences of coming into the dining room, that we will get more and more interest of folks coming into the dining room. So again, This changed as of yesterday. You know, I thought I was going to be telling you today that, oh, we were going to be doing 2 seatings of the 25% capacity. So that's all botched. It's different. On March 10th, we will start at 50% capacity with staggered reservation times. So like it is right now, there'll be reservation times for 5, 5:15, 5:30, 5:45, and so on, and never to exceed 50% capacity in the dining room, which is about 24 people. Based on our decimals, that actually might go more like 25. So we're trying to work all of that out right now. And so that will start next week. A question that came in, a good one. Is indoor dining still with only 2 households of 6 people? So before it was 2 households, I'm sorry, it was, oh my Lord, if we can ever keep things straight, it changes right away. It was not to exceed 6 people of 3 households. No, 2 households. Anyways, next week, there's nothing. Wish I could pull up the graphic, Jackie. I'm sorry. That's why I didn't put that much information on this, because we are just learning about this, and I did not want to show you the wrong things. Yeah, maybe you can go down the dining spot, because I think it says no more than 6 people at a table. There we go. Looking at the second bullet point in food service. Groups of patrons do not exceed 6 people at a table, and each table is separated by 6 feet. Okay, there's no household restriction anymore, but we cannot have groups larger than 6, which is typical in our dining room. So I did discuss with Anne Marie and Chef Mark, and we, based on your reservations, if you are making reservations and are open to joiners, as a single household or a double household, just as a rule of thumb, we're going to use tables of 4 as the norm, unless you note you want to sit at a table of 6. So a lot of times we wouldn't expect to have a table of 6, but we are allowed to if there are groups of folks that want to sit in that large of a table. So for instance, at a table of 6, you do not have to be 6 feet away from each other, and there is no household limitation. So at our large tables, which there's only 2 of, we could have 6 people sitting next to each other from 6 different households. We do, however, have to have the tables, the actual tables, be 6 feet apart, which they currently are. So some loosening of restrictions there. You can sit with more people. And there will be more people in the dining room at a time. That is essentially how that will affect us. And again, we are still learning about all of this too. So if I say something different next week, it's because this is brand new information that we have been working to digest over the last 24 hours. Will you still deliver meals? So this is a great question, and it's something that we're really brainstorming right now. We have found that delivery is a very popular option for people. So that's why we never dive into anything head first. You know, even if we could have full dining capacity right now, we wouldn't take away delivery. I'll say a few things. The level of service that we are built on is an in-person service. So ideally, the majority of our service would be focused on the dining room in person when we are able to do that. So we are not able to do that right now. So we will continue delivery, and we will continue delivery free of charge. What delivery looks like 6 months from now, 1 year from now, I don't know. We don't know, Anne Marie and Mark, but it is a topic of is this a service we are able to sustain in the future if we had full capacity limits in our dining room? And is this a service that could potentially be sustained if we were offering it with an additional charge? So there's a number of scenarios that we're looking at, and really it depends on what our capacity limits, what are our levels of interest, what are our staffing levels? Can we successfully deliver meals while we're still serving at 100% capacity in the dining room? So it's kind of this balance of, yes, we will continue offering delivery, no charge right now. Will that be the case in 6 months? I cannot fully answer that, but hopefully I named a number of factors that could play into that decision, which makes it a little bit easier to understand. Great question. B there, I think it's just, I think I did mention that we are working on a step-by-step instructions of how to for reservations, because we keep finding all of these things and little tips and tricks. So thank you again, everyone out there that has been patient through learning yet another process on that online portal. It's pretty amazing that we started that whole online ordering thing in the midst of a time where we couldn't even show you how to do it in person. So everyone has really taken that and run with it and have been very patient if things have come up with that. So thank you. The other dining, just reminder, is that we will be closed on Easter, which is April 4th. So we are doing what we normally do for Easter to recognize that holiday and give our team members the extra day to be with their family. So any dining questions, you could go ahead and pop that in the Q&A. I will just take a little drink break if anybody had anything coming in. Jackie doing a phenomenal job behind the scenes. Sprung all these things for her to share about 5 minutes before we started. Okay, let's go. Well, you can see the maintenance things here. Sorry, we are cut off there in the middle to go to the second page. So first and foremost, we are continuing recruitment efforts right now to find another maintenance person for Jim. We are also kind of coming up with spring plans of what's the worst case scenario and how can we continue the things that we need to do if we are still in the same situation right now. So have not had a lot of success finding that maintenance person. I will tell you, we have not had a lot of applicants. So it's very hard to find good workers right now. It's kind of industry-wide. And I will say that our HR team is really doing an incredible job putting that posting out on different avenues for people to apply to, reaching out to temp agencies to see kind of the feedback on our actual position and all of that. So we are really working hard to try and fill that position, and we certainly hope that we can get someone that's a good fit soon. We don't just want a body, of course, you know, we need somebody that is quite a go-getter, like Jim, of course, too. So, you know, we want the right applicant as well. So just wanted to let you all know we are continuing to work on that, and keep sending positive thoughts to us on that. And then did want to kind of bring up some spring items. You know, we've seen the sun this week. It makes us think spring and flowers and green grass and all of those kinds of things. So grounds, just wanted to touch on that in general. The spring, we will do another round of our grass seeding. There will be some repairs, of course, to damage that's been done from snow removal. It happens every year. It's unfortunate, but just wanted to let you all know we are well aware and on top of those issues that are coming up. And then kind of the same thing on the landscaping reminders. So again, there are some new residents here so that haven't experienced a normal spring. You know, last spring, the landscapers couldn't even come in right away. So that will be different this year. So just a reminder to any new residents, you are not able to plant your own plantings, especially in the front yard, and in the back, you are not able to plant any of your own things without prior approval. So those are always things that we talk about with our landscaping company, which is Green Magic Growers. And really, we need to make sure that these items are falling in line with the consistency of the look that we are aiming to for each cottage. So it is really a beautiful time here in the spring, and we love to see those first signs of flowers, and we love to see our worker bees from Green Magic being here. They are a great team, and we just love having them tend to our campus. Concrete, I just want to bring that up because Jackie and I did take a nice little walk yesterday, and there were some spots of concrete that I did notice were starting to shift or had shifted from all of the extreme weather changes. So a lot of those shifts will kind of get back to a ground level and even as things start to warm up and there is a consistent temperature. However, usually once, sometimes twice in the spring, summer, we do some concrete work that helps with all of that leveling. So I just wanted to address that. And if you ever find spots like that that are really uneven, please let us know, because if it's before the concrete company can come in here, or if it's before things kind of shift back to normal, we usually will spray paint a big X on it that lets our walkers know this part's a little uneven. So don't hesitate to let us know about something like that. We try to catch everything, but that's certainly not always the case. So down at E, window washing and power washing, that is tentatively scheduled for the last week in March, waiting on, of course, weather. So generally they do 1 week power washing, 1 week window washing. So the window washing will consist of interior and exterior window washing. So the company does screen their employees. If they come into your house, they are wearing masks. They will have been screened that day. But there may be some folks out there that are not ready to have window washers come to the interior to wash their windows. And if that is the case, please let me know. So once we know for sure these dates, I will send out a memo to you all. And then at that time, you could let me know, please just do the exterior of my windows, for instance. Okay. And then looking at F there, seal coating of community streets and parking lot. That's just a project we wanted you to be aware of that will happen probably more towards summer. So, you know, again, the parking lot, all of the community streets, all of those cracks, getting them all filled, that is on the radar and will be a planned project, probably more around the start of summer. There's just some things coming up that we are looking at that we'll be sure to address. Did have a question about kind of some spring cleaning. The person in here, I'm just gonna write that down specifically for you. You know, the other thing I didn't have on here that kind of touches on this topic were the kind of more in-depth cleans that the housekeepers did that were canceled because of the start of COVID way back when. So that was when they were going to spend a longer time in your cottage to do different things that they are not able to do in their normal 30 minutes. So that is something that we hope to do very soon as well. And a lot of our newer people probably haven't experienced that, so we would make sure you have all the information necessary. So stay tuned on that. And I think that would take care of the request in the Q&A here. Then the other one, I'm not sure about this Q&A question, so I will reach out to you specifically on here as well. So some specific questions that I will follow up with directly. And anything maintenance related at all, you can go ahead and put in the Q&A for us. Happy to answer any of that. Kind of slowly go on. Oh, what's up next? Okay, you have seen another name here at the top. We have Melissa from the foundation with us. So she has helped us call bingo before, which was awesome. You have seen her here in person. She helped us on New Year's Eve, which was also a great help. So you've seen Melissa around. She's going to tell you about another time you can see her soon via your TV. And she's going to fill us in on a little foundation update here.
Thanks, Natalie. Hi, everyone. I'd like to say it's great to see all of your faces, but I just get to see your names. I have to settle with your names for now. But anyway, thanks again for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you and hanging out with the folks over at the Cedars. You're such a great group of folks. I wanted to take a second just to share some information from the foundation. I'm going to try to share my screen if I can. Is that all right, Natalie?
Yes, you should be able to. Is it letting you, or does Jackie have to stop?
I think it's letting me, so let me know if you can see that.
Got it. Perfect.
Okay, fantastic. So for those of you who were around last year, you might have remembered or gotten some information from us about our Not All Heroes Wear Capes campaign. It was our way to, in an immediate way, be able to support our frontline team members when COVID hit. We knew that for those folks that are on the ground, specifically helping, our nursing residents and our assisted living and our memory care folks, and even those that, that help you, even dining services, bringing in your food every day. Those are our frontline essential workers. And we created the emergency aid fund for them last year. It was very successful. We raised $1.1 million thanks to many of you. And we've been able to grant back out right about that much money. That's how much of a need there was. And so our team members have been helped that way. But to take it a step further and to think about it kind of as a 2.0, we at the foundation get the pleasure of being able to thank our frontline caregivers. And we have two programs that we have had on campus for many years now, and it comes in our Team Member Support Services Fund. And those are our scholarships that we have for our team members, and also the continuing non-COVID related emergency aid. So this spring, we're really focusing on that, again, as a giant thank you. And so I just wanted to share just this little bit of a flyer, and you will be getting information about this probably in many ways, in the mail, in email, and through this conversation I'm having with you right now. But a little bit more about our scholarship services is that we have a competitive educational scholarship that we're awarded 3 times a year, $3,000 at a time. It can be awarded up to $12,000 in that person's career, education career. We have had folks from housekeeping that have gone off to and wanting to be a nurse. We've had folks from dining services that have decided that they wanted to do cosmetology school and or IT, and we're here to help them further their career. It's a really great way, again, just for us to say thank you. And then our emergency aid fund is one that we offer up to $1,000 in assistance for any unplanned personal family emergencies. This could be, you blow a tire out on the highway and you have a plan for that kind of cost, but we know it's so important for you to be able to make it to work and continue to coming to work that we'd love to be able to help you out and support you in that way. And so many other examples of how we've been able to help in that emergency way. Additionally, just to share kind of what we've been able to do with those funds over the years, that we've granted us under $400,000 in educational scholarships, which is really just wonderful, to over 115 team members. We just launched this on the west side of the state over at Porter Hills last year, and I think we had 5 applications last year for this fund, and we're really glad to continue to be able to grow and use that across all of the umbrella of the service areas that we serve. And then in emergency aid funds, over $90,000 to 119 dedicated members since we started this program. Ultimately, again, as we talk about this as a thank you, if you can see this little heart here, the hands holding hearts, that little statistic, is that one of the hardest things that we face in the line of work that we do is retention, is having people stay. I know you all have experienced those wonderful housekeepers or dining, or if you've had to, have a CNA or a nurse work with you through the work that we do, you always know when you have one of those amazing ones. It's really hard to keep and hold on to those amazing ones, even though we're one of the best places to work. But we found that if we are able to offer these scholarships, and our intent is to be able to offer more of them, is that we have 71% of those folks who receive those scholarships stay, and they stay almost about 4 years. That's really, really wonderful, and for helping to keep consistency across UMRC and Porter Hills. So I share all that with you today in hopes that if you have any questions about either of these funds or our Team Member Support Services Fund, that you will reach out to me. And if you're interested in supporting that with a donation, or you have other ideas or other ways that you've seen positive reinforcement for workforce team members, I'm happy to toss those ideas around for you and figure out what we can do best to continue to support. So again, if you have questions, you can throw them in the Q&A and or just reach out to me at another time, or get in touch with Natalie and she can get you to me too. And then second of all, Natalie wanted me to share next Friday, Lisa French and I from the foundation, many of you probably know Lisa, will be putting together a little performance for you. I don't know if any of you had a chance to catch the Christmas performance that we did, but we are going to be doing just a quick kind of ode to Broadway, if you will, next Friday.
Ooh, I didn't know the topic.
Yeah, so it'll be some fun musical theater stuff. Lisa is a wonderful pianist, and I studied music and have a degree in opera, which I don't use regularly, but now I get to use when I get to share these performances with all of you. So next Thursday, I think Natalie will share that link with you. Next Friday. Natalie will share that link with you. At 3 o'clock is when we go live, but I think the link will be live longer than that. And, let me know. Hazel at CRC has kind of roped me and Lisa into doing this a couple of times a year.
You're a recurring act now.
I think so. So if you have any requests or you have a theme that you want us to try out, it's a fun time for Lisa and I to do some stuff that we've never done together. Just a good time to be in front of you. I cannot wait till we can have a real audience, because singing to a bunch of pews in the chapel is lovely, but it's not the same as having you there in person.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
I will say that as a not-for-profit organization, the fact that we do have foundations like Melissa is a part of that offer such things for our team members. I can speak personally that has helped with my retention. I am a scholarship recipient from the foundation in the past. So it is something that was amazing to me at that time, and I know benefits a lot of the team members. Are you able to see the Q&A, Melissa? Okay, so you want to handle that?
Sorry, let me come off of mute. I just wrote back to whomever sent that.
Perfect.
Absolutely. We support all team members at all levels. You have to be in good standing with us, of course, and we do look at that. And we really do. There is a little bit of a tiered system. I will share that, if you are a little bit if you have a lot of opportunity for career growth, you likely will be higher up on the priorities for scholarship. So we really like to help people at the beginning of their careers and at their end if that's the case. But for the most part, that's where the focus lies. So absolutely, wait staff are supported all the way up to some management get support too, depending on what they're working on.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always good to hear kind of the backstory of that, especially as we get new residents in here, and it can be one of those things that not everyone is aware of. So thank you, Melissa, for being with us, and I will certainly share the link to their performance next week in that weekly update that I send out. So I'm going to watch that too, Melissa.
Thanks.
Love me some Broadway.
I know, it should be fun.
All right, thank you. Jackie, just pull up that agenda one more time. I think we covered everything. I just want to give folks another minute if they think of any questions at all. Now is the time to put a question in there, or of course, reach out to me directly. You'll get some more dining information too. I know we kind of cruised through all of that. And same with reservations as well. We will certainly give you some more clear-cut directions on how to do that, because everything has kind of happened so fast, and we want people to come in, so we want it to be easy for you to achieve that. So thank you again for everyone's patience with our online portal. It seems like we've got it going pretty good now. Just another note that was not on the agenda, I did check in with our CRT members, the care response team, Paul and Connie, and there were no updates to share in terms of anything like that. So no news is usually good news for that. Trying to think of other things here while we just have a moment for folks to get in any questions. Our library volunteer group is phenomenal. They just sent out their newsletter of things that had been added since December, but really a big thank you to that library group. Ray, Tim and Shar, Heidi, the organization is impeccable. And then of course, thank you, Jackie, for helping them get the returned books as well. But I think I've told most of our library, those volunteers, it's hard to think of what that library used to be with, the books kind of just sitting there. So it's a real library. It's very organized. It's getting a lot of use. And especially with less things to do the past year, I know it has really, really provided some other engagement opportunities for people. So big thank you to our library folks. One other thing from Michelle Hoxie, who does still crochet those plastic bags. So if you have any supply of plastic bags from the grocery store, your grocery bags that you are trying to get rid of, bring them into the clubhouse. There is a big cardboard box to the left of the staff refrigerator in the copy room. So that's where the big printer is. That's where our staff clocks in and out, and you will see a big, tall cardboard box that you could place any grocery bags in. So Michelle is working away at those and wanted me to make sure folks knew about that. Otherwise, we covered topics that folks talked to me about this week. Thank you for anyone that brought things up. I look forward to seeing you more in here, doing our activities from bingo to book club to bridge, the bees, I guess. And then, of course, after April 19th, we will see what happens then. So every time we can do more, we do more. And as long as you all want to keep doing that, we are happy to keep providing those opportunities. So it looks like there are not any questions coming through. So again, I just want to thank you. I'm actually happy it was not as nice as yesterday, because we probably would not have gotten as good of a turnout. At one point today, there was 33 households in attendance. So I did try to write down our attendees. I probably missed one or two that had to hop off early, but big thank you for everyone attending today. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Thank you, Jackie, for sharing the screen for us, flawless. And thank you, Melissa, who already went on her way. But thank you, everyone. Have a good day.